Hello, beautiful souls. It's Lisa Stroda, and I took the summer off, and now the Holistic Life Coach podcast is back. In this episode, I chat with Ilan Azoulai, a sound therapist, spiritual guide, speaker, entrepreneur, and host of the podcast, Abracadabra, Create What You Speak. Ilan and I chat about how sound and frequencies help in the healing process, how he helps people manifest their dreams, and what you can expect during a sound therapy session. I had a blast chatting with Ilan, and with his voice and accent, I could listen to him recite the phone book. Here we go. Ilan Azoulai. Welcome, Ilan, to the pod.
Hello, Lisa. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm fine. I'd like to start with guests and ask them about what was 7-year-old Ilan doing? Let's go back to the beginning.
What was 7? Yeah, wow. What was 7? Yeah. Well, I grew up in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was the chief of police of Tel Aviv, and my mom was a stay-at-home. And at that time, I don't think that I was thinking about these things. Although what I was about what I will do, I was concerned. I was worried about, am I going to go play out or?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really want to be in my house, to be honest with you. I didn't really. My childhood wasn't all. Glamour and so forth. So I was dreaming a lot, daydreaming a lot, and I would read a lot. I would read a lot of fantasy books, and I would just daydream. I would just daydream about being somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't. I think around the age of 10, I started understanding and desiring being a musician, because I fell in love with my music mentor and one of the Israeli musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what I wanted to be. And that's when I started to discover a desire to do something that was greater than me, at least at that time. So that was the early things. What I do remember now that I'm talking about this, I would build a lot of airplane models, paper airplane models.
Yeah,
just like the plastic, very detailed. Everything is very detailed, but it was made out of paper from the Israeli Air Force. So that was my hobby, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know there's all sorts of sound therapies, like music therapy. And could you explain what sound therapy is?
Yes. So we are made of frequencies. We as human, everything is energy, right? So we're made of frequencies, and every part of our body has a frequency. Every part of our body vibrates in a different frequency. Now, when I say every part of our body, I mean the physical part and the spiritual / emotional body. So, and what drives the health of the physical body is actually the spiritual body. Spiritual body, healthy spirit in a healthy body. That's in Kabbalah, that's in Judaism. Mm-hmm. So the spirit is healthy. If your spirit is healthy, then your body is healthy. Many of, if not most of the ailments that we have today, that people are developing tumors, and it's all has to do with the health of the spiritual body. There are, of course, some exceptions, but if we look at everything spiritual and we look from that lens, and this is something that I live by and I go by and I talk about with friends or clients, anybody, is that everything physical, everything that is in this plane, in this dimension, has a spiritual reason and cause. Well,
Yeah.
when you say something and people tell you, respond to you and say, God's plan, everything is orchestrated, everything is planned, everything has to be the way it is, and you look at the journey that you've passed, and you can make sense of all the points that you've been through in your life, right? So we can connect the points, the dots, only
Yeah.
after the journey, only after we cross a certain amount of time, we can connect the dots and say, oh, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really anticipate or know beforehand. Therefore, it is the trust in your process, the trust in your journey, the trust in your fate, that everything that you're going through is for the better and for the good of what you will be going through. And it builds you up. It builds you. So when we look at sound, sound is I see it as sound is the ultimate medicine for the body and spirit, because sound and frequencies heal on the cellular level and on the emotional level. And so there are different ways of looking at sound and looking at how to heal with sound. Sound is scientific. It is not a woo woo. Some people would say, oh, anything that is esoteric. There was, at least in the old paradigm, people that belong to the old paradigm, people like my parents, for example, or people in that generation, will look at
Yeah.
that and will say, oh, yeah, sure, okay. It is. It is like, if they don't see it, they don't believe it.
Right.
But then you don't see Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
You don't see Wi-Fi, and you still can do wonders. And you don't see laser beams, and they could do wonders, or plunters. So sound. There are different ways to work with sound, because sound is so extensive. I work with different tools, with Tibetan bowls, bioacoustic engineering, which is analyzing your voice and discovering all the traumas and all the dents, so to speak, that you have in your construct, because every trauma, everything is reflected in your voice, and so your voice fluctuates, and your voice is a holographic representation of all that you are. So everything will be reflected in it. So analyzing the voice sample, voice profiling, as I call it, gives me an indication of where you are within yourself. Do you believe your words? Do you believe what you're talking about? Do you connect to where you are? How are you with certain issues in your life? What minerals, what enzymes are missing in your body to balance you out, and what frequencies are needed to treat you with, so you can reharmonize again.
Yeah.
And so I work with Tibetan bowls. With this, there's song, music. Everybody's working differently. There are crystal bowls, gongs, and all these have frequencies that touch and activate different energy points in your body, different chakras. And can open you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering exactly how this sound works, and because I'm familiar with music therapy. I was thinking of going into music therapy myself, but that didn't work out due to logistics. So, and I remember when my mom was in the hospital, and they had a music therapist there, brought in a guitar and played songs for her, and how, because she was in for quite a few weeks, and she just loved it, and it really lifted her spirits. And when I talked to her about it, like, she understands that, like, she understands how music could affect your emotions. But in terms of sound therapy affecting your cells, and I know she would say, "What? How does this happen?" So what's a typical, or like a typical session? How?
Yeah. Well, first of all, music is sound therapy. It seems like, for what I gathered, it seems like you separated between music therapy and sound therapy. Music is sound.
Yeah.
Music is frequency. The reason your mom felt good when she had that musician come and play is because it is therapy. There are people that respond differently to different frequencies, and usually these are the high frequencies. People respond differently to different frequencies, either because they're missing certain thing, or they have certain condition, or they're just not. It's not their frequency. Everybody has a frequency.
Okay.
Everybody has a range that's it's what is called the frequency of your soul. Everybody has a frequency. And some people will not respond well to high frequency. For example, women, for example, not everybody, but most women cannot endure high pitched noises, high pitched frequencies,
Yeah.
and that is attributed to the way that a woman is built by creation, because she needs to hear the babies cry. She needs to hear voices far away, small, very high-pitched voices of the babies to be to take care of them. So it's kind of like it's a biological construct.
Okay.
So yeah, and so the reason that person felt, your mom felt good with that person coming and playing, is because it is therapy. And it depends also which music, like heavy metal, for example, she may have not enjoyed if that would be the music that you would hear.
Yeah.
Right. It depends also on what you're singing. There is this famous famous, and I'm Masuro Emoto is a Japanese professor who did the water experiment.
Yes.
Very famous water experiment where he took two groups of people with cans with bowls of water for each group, put them in different rooms. One room, the group talked only positive words and affirmations to the water, played classical music, very soothing music, all good words, all beautiful words. The other group in the other room just talked negatively, curses, putting down, played heavy rock, heavy metal music, avant-garde, all kind of stuff that is dissonance to our ears, that is dissonance to hear. And they froze the water, and what happened is that the particles of the first group, that was positive group, the water changed its shape to a beautifully geometric shapes. Yeah. Beautiful orchestra, like diamonds. In the second group, it was just a brown splat. Just there was nothing. So it makes you ask the question, if we as humans are more than 80% water, our construct, and we talk to ourselves the way that we talk to ourselves, with a positive or negative, right? But if we're talking to ourselves negative, what are we doing to our body? What are we doing to our energy field? And like attracts like, and so if we are in a negative space and we are in a place of despair, or place of anguish, or anxiousness, and so forth, then we're probably and most likely going to attract alike. And when I say attract alike, is attracting alike people with same energy, instances and things that we do that may not resonate with who we are or where we want to be. So, there is its effect. So my work with sound, I work with sound as a tool to dive deeper into one's psyche, and to discover more things, and to connect the person to their frequency, to their soul frequency, to be in a harmonious place. Think about, are you using a Mac or a PC, for example?
Oh, a Mac.
And a computer now. Are you using Macs or Windows?
Mac, whatever.
Is it
Apple.
A Mac? Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I ask is because, you use the applications, and suddenly your computer is slow, and suddenly some applications don't open, and it's kind of like all funky. You feel like you need to restart, or you feel like you need to do a repair permissions. There is an application a utility application that goes basically and repair the permissions of all the applications, which means it resets all the operations instructions to factory default. And when you do that, or restart the computer because it reboots the memory that accumulated, then everything works okay. Well, that's exactly the same analogy to what happens is we are, we go on our daily activities, we do this, we do that, and then one day I hurt my knee, then the other day I hurt my back, then I feel anxious and I feel nervous, so when you go into a sound therapy session with me, you are recalibrated, reharmonized, starting point. And when you are at the starting point, actually you are at the most harmonized place because you are aligned. Everything is straight, right? Everything is back to order. Back to order is not as far as a limitation process, but back to order is manufacturer factory defaults, right? You're back to your factory defaults, which is a happy place. This brings a question. The question is, what is the nature of us as humans? Are we in our nature sad or happy? And to answer the question, look at babies, look at kids. Let's do kids, right? Kids are happy by default unless you do something, you take something from them, you hurt them. Otherwise, they're happy. They're playing outside. This is how we are constructed. We're built to be happy. This is our default. What happens is all our filters. So during the work with the coaching and spiritual mentoring that I do, I guide people into preserving that and into thriving from that place. So sound is a tool to recalibrate. Sound is a tool to heal. There are frequencies that heal, even cuts on your skin and bruises. Frequencies that send messages to the mind, to the brain, and to the cells on the body to recalibrate and to heal themselves. And so the sound session is first of all to recalibrate and then to heal. So we do different sets, the different frequencies. Every session is dynamic and depends on the client and depends on the person I'm working with. So I will connect spiritually to that person. I will sometimes download information for that person during our session. It could be in the middle, it could be later. The person will share with me something and something will come to me for that person. And so that is a session. But before we do that, I give people what I prepare, and it's a tea. It's a high tea for a higher state of consciousness, and it's tea that I make, the tea that I prepare. I sift through. It's my formula, and it's made out of all herbs and plants, and it's a heart expansion. It's a heart expansion feeling, chakras activation, body feeling. And I have three kinds. It's a high tea. There's open heart, which is what I described. Then there is love sanity, and that's also an open heart and activates your sacral chakra, your second chakra that is responsible for your sexuality, creativity, vitality. And then there is breathe easy, which is also a heart opener and works on your respiratory systems. And so that brings the person into a calmness, a place of collectedness, so the person can connect back to your heart, to your body, listen to your body, be in your body, be in your heart. And then we can move forward with the sound and so forth. And so and then there is integration, and integration after a session or after I work with different herbs and plants for overnight sessions that are very deep and very expansive. There is integration, and integration is taking all that you've experienced and looking at how to integrate it in our daily life. And so that's very powerful. As I say to everybody, nobody comes out the same. It's in a good way, of course. Nobody comes out the same. So that's as far as the sessions.
Okay. Yeah, that makes Oh, that I understand that. That um, when I was studying music therapy, one of my instructors said that you know it's very important. It's music therapy isn't just I'm going to play a song, any song for you, because each song it has a different everybody's going to have a different reaction. And she said that they wanted to try music therapy in the NICU with the premature babies. And she says it's very important that we pick a specific type of music for those babies to listen to, or a particular baby, because
Yeah,
if you don't want the tempo to be really fast, you don't want to get their heart rate up. There's certain things, and so even if it's someone might have a great idea, like, hey, let's play a song for them, and she says, but it's you need a music therapist to come in and you know pick out the music for those children, because
yeah,
it will
yeah, absolutely.
really
Yeah,
affect them.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Absolutely. I would even refine it and saying which kind of frequency first. First, which
mhm,
kind of what frequencies to pay attention to even before the music, before the kind of music. It's which frequency, because you can play any frequency on any kind of music. So I would
mhm,
recommend using binaural beats. This is something I also use in sound, and I'll
mhm,
explain what that is.
yeah,
Binaural beats, different frequencies that, for example, 528 hertz. 528 hertz is a frequency of love and frequency of the heart. So
yeah,
and it rebuilds your DNA, sends instructions to your DNA to repair itself. So I would say put that for an adult, for example, when you go to sleep. You can put this in a room for a baby as well. Um, just as this is very helpful and therapeutic and promising for babies, it's important for pregnant women to understand what ultrasound is, because you brought up now babies, and it reminded me because I just talked about this week, and I know women that were doing ultrasound, and it depends when you do this, and the baby died in the belly.
mm,
Is
yeah,
very, because what is happening, the baby is very fragile in the belly, and when you're
mhm,
doing ultrasound, especially, and in Judaism it talks about this as well. Before science was here, saying that you can do, let's say, one ultrasound on the 6th week, and then you
yeah,
don't do one until the 28th week or the 26th week. You don't do in this period any of those things, because the vibrations and the sound waves that are traveling can harm the baby. Can harm the
ah,
baby. You
well,
do ultrasound. It can harm the baby, and it's very, very dangerous. So you need to pay attention to these things. You need to talk to your provider and the doctor. Every woman, of course, has a different condition and different situation of pregnancy.
mhm,
Nevertheless, the baby is very fragile. Doing all these tests, and with sound, and not to talk about the needles that sometimes you do it at at, at,
oh yeah,
at the later stage.
mhm,
All this kind of stuff. Dangerous, very dangerous. You need to be very cautious with sound, especially when you're pregnant. When I have women that are pregnant that
mhm,
come to me to have work, um, it's very delicate, very soft. I work with some women, depends on the combination that they're having in their body. Let's say they're pregnant and they have certain other issues, or they have metals in the body from any accidents or stuff like that. I reschedule to for a more refined work. It's not just like oh yeah, come lay down in bed. I'll just put some
uh-huh,
sound bowls near you and we'll just go party. No, because it can affect the baby, and the metals will absorb the energy, and depends where the metals or the operation or procedure that you had, it can cause um, certain vibration that is not comfortable. So every case is different. Every case is different. No session is the same. Also with group sessions, no session is the same.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how different it sounds in music. Like you could have a group and we all hear the same music and or even the same lyrics, but it just means something different to each of us, and it affects us differently. And that's always fascinated me uh, when you have a group of people
Yeah,
together
it's really
and
fascinating.
they
It's
hear the
really a
same
fascinating.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you ask them, well, what did you experience during that? What did you hear? And they'll each of them will have a different interpretation of what they heard. And that's, to me, that's just fascinating. Um,
for
I,
sure. It's the same
yeah.
thing with colors. Some
Hmm.
people will see green, some people will see blue of the same color, the same hue.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
And so at 10, you were uh, studying music. And so, how did that journey take you to like sound therapy exactly? Or
Hmm.
I'm also interested in your spiritual guides and in that. If you can talk about that.
Yeah. Well, well, the work with sound is spiritual.
Hmm.
It's very
Yeah.
spiritual. I guide people in manifesting their dreams, in discovering their
Hmm.
voice and understanding the frequency of their voice, and healing those emotional blocks and patterns that are holding them back from manifesting what they want and what they desire. And it's the understanding of everything is the starting point. Where do we start? What is the starting point? And so the spiritual, again, going back to the spiritual work, is what I said. Everything in this realm, everything in this world, in this existence, everything that we see, we touch, we feel, everything has a spiritual reason and cause. And when I say spiritual, it has to do with your soul journey, it has to do with your
Okay.
contract, with your soul contracts that you have
Hmm.
with people, the soul contracts that you have with yourself. We're talking
Yeah.
about karmic connections.
Hmm.
People are talking about karmic connection. I've talked to somebody who talked about karmic connection, and yet he doesn't believe in reincarnation. So it's kind of like, so it shows me that there is a misunderstanding or some kind of a disconnect between these issues, because karma is something that we carry over from other situations, other lifetimes, family connections. We choose to come here. We choose the families to be born into. We choose the life that we're living. We choose
Hmm.
that. We choose all of that because our soul contract, because of something that happened in a previous life that our soul did not bring into completion. And so when we come
Okay.
here, we are what you call in Kabbalah do a tikkun. A The literal word is fix, but we're talking about how nothing is broken with us, and we're perfectly exactly the way we are, and yet we're here to learn, right?
Hmm.
So I wouldn't say it
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
we are here to be perfect. We're here to be refined. We're here to
Got
be
it.
refined because we come in our potential. We're being born here. We're being born into this earth, into this life. Let's put it this way,
Hmm.
that is on earth, that we chose to, and we are born into this. We're born into this place, and we are here to take what we came with and make it better, and make it. That's the potential. It's like you can't just take flour and eat it, and it's not bread. You have to take the
Yeah.
flour. You have to bake. You have to water, and all these kind of things.
Hmm.
Just like the same thing with barley, you can't just take it and drink it like beer. You have to process it,
Yeah.
right? So we came with our potential. We came with our potential to create beer from us, for example, right? If we're talking about beer, or if we're talking about bread, let's say we are the flour. Let's say we came here as flour, and right. So we are here to make the best of what we can be. The best example I can give, for example, is you melt gold, and then the person who melted the all this amount of gold decided to make a hammer out of gold. Now, we need a hammer. Hammer is good, knock nails, but gold was not meant for to be a hammer. Gold is not here to be a hammer. It can do hammering, but it's not a hammer. It's like, I would say, okay, I'm going to find a job now in a bakery. Can I do bakery? Yeah, for sure I can do bakery. But is that what I'm here to do? No. Somebody else is, and that's okay. I'm just talking about me personally, right? So that is not what I'm here. I'm here to do other things, big things, and help people, and be in that place of servitude and creating this environment. And we are manifestors. We are creators. How was the world created? The world was created in 10 utterances. 10 utterances was the word created. There was one day, there was second, all these examples. And so our voice, we have the capacity, and we have the ability, and we have the creativity to create and to manifest. And it's not only sound, and it's not only how do we say things, but it's also how we mean. What place do I inhabit with myself when I want to create things? There are also there are workshops that I do on manifestation, on healing traumas through this process with sound, on relationships. Everything is a relationship. Everything is about relationships, and I'm not talking about relationships between two people only, right?
Right.
So I started as 10. I fell in love with Mati Kaspi, who is the Sting / Stevie Wonder of Israel. And at that age I said, oh, now I know what I want to be. I want to be Mati Kaspi, right? I was a 10-year-old kid. That's what I wanted to be. I want to identify with him, but I really wanted to be a musician. And it happened, throughout my years. I was in different bands, different groups, produced music, performed, all these kind of things. And but the sound therapy aspect of it really came in the last decade. In the last decade, when I met shaman whom I've apprenticed with for about 7-8 years. I met him in about 2010, 2009, 2010. And that work, that being in shamanism for so long, and it's not being in shamanism, but really working through it and understanding it and experiencing it, and there is so much more to learn, brought me back to my roots of where I come from and where I want to be, and connecting to places in myself and to the dark or shadows places, to release, so I can remember my inner power, so I can remember my soul, so I can remember my frequency, so I can remember and reconnect to all these places that I can create and be and be in abundance. So this is what I've discovered throughout, is that it is not how much I learn, but it is how much I allow myself to shed out of myself, to release all those filters, all these things. When I asked you initially, what is our natural state, being sad or happy? And we said, of course, happy. Look at children, which means as adults, we've accumulated so many filters and so many precautions, perceptions, and whatnot. And we are actually shedding them. We're actually coming to terms with, we're healing, and we're shedding, saying, okay, thank you, protector ego, or thank you, protector Ilan. Now you've served me well. You served me and protected me well. Now, thank you. I don't need you anymore. I'm moving forward, right?
Right.
Which means I removed filters out of my eyes so I can see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I awoke long time ago and now I can see, So,
Mm-hmm.
and much of the work has to connect to all these places, to inner child and to your fears and wants and desires and your body. Your body is your guide. Your mind is your pride. It is, look at intuition. Learning to trust your intuition is a long process, and when we connect to that place, to that intuitive place, we discover how much we didn't need to do so much.
Right. Yeah.
And so sound came later on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was working with a shaman. Yeah, that came later on.
Okay. And so people use sound therapy do they use with other modalities, other healing modalities?
I always say there are so many modalities to reach the ocean. There's so many rivers to reach the ocean. There's sound therapy, there's yoga. I mean, combining is even better because you're taking care not only of your spirit, but taking care of your body, you're taking care of your movement. So I absolutely recommend you do sound, do yoga, do exercise, you walk, you do all kind of things that make you feel good. Not make you feel good because of somebody else, not make you feel bad because of somebody else. But make you feel good because these are things that you chose for yourself, to take care of yourself. And this is a very important thing to mention, that many people, and of course mothers, will want to take care first of all of others. First of all of others before they take care of themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I believe that we are here to be I believe that we are here to be better to be in service, so we can take our betterness and use it in order to help others. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then we get depleted. We run on our batteries and our last energy. We don't have energy. We don't have desire. We're becoming impatient. And that's because we don't take care of ourselves. And that's because we don't nourish ourselves, nourishing our body, nourishing our soul, more importantly. And so we get tired of that. So taking care of yourself is crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah. And I think a lot of moms, might think that, I know there are things people wrestle with, that if they take care of themselves first, they're being selfish. And it's not true.
People think that, yeah. I can see that. Exactly.
It's you have to put on, like when those masks drop in the airplane, you have to put the mask on yourself first before you can help somebody else put on their
Exactly.
mask.
I was just thinking that. Exactly. I remember when it started, my family was like, "Oh, egoistics! You have to take care of your child first." But they come from an emotional place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
They come from an emotional place. And that emotional place is hindering on seeing what is best for you. And this is a big part of my work, is helping people map their experiences. And mapping their experience means that you can look at where you are. You can look at you can look at what is happening and be able to analyze and to solve, if a solution is needed, from a logical place, not from an emotional place. There is a term in Judaism is called melech. Melech in Hebrew is a king, okay? But the acronym of melech is moach lev klayot. M stands for the brain.
Yeah.
Lamed, the L, stands for the heart. And the chaf, the last letter, which is a 3-letter word, the chaf stands for the kidneys. Why? Because the mind that controls my heart that controls my desires. So the desires are all in the kidney, liver area,
Yeah.
and the spirit is in the heart, and the soul is in your pineal gland. It's in that almond-shaped pineal gland where we connect them again. That's where our soul is. And so, why is that? Because there is a in one of the prayers and one of the scriptures in Judaism, there is a sentence that says. There is a sentence. I'm going back. He's talking about the heart. Don't tour after your heart, and don't prostitute yourself after your heart desire. Now, and it uses the word "don't tour." Don't tour after your heart, because what is a heart is a tourist. What does a tourist do when he comes to a new place? He goes here and he goes there, enters here, doesn't know if he'll come out there. Oh, let's look at this store. This is how the heart is. So there's many, oh, I want this. Oh, I like this. Oh, no, now I want this. Oh, no, I don't like to do this. Oh, yes, I want this. Oh, no, I don't want this. Oh, yes, I want all these kind of things. Don't tour after your heart, because your heart will take you into places that may not be good for you. You may want something, but many times when we want something, it may come from an unhealthy place. So you may want something and pursue something that may not even be good for you. And because you are in an emotional place, you are in a bribed place, so to speak, you're not able to see clear. You're not able to see clearly what your path is. So, so that's... So yeah, that's the emotional place is something that is not beneficial for us to make decisions or life altering choices. And so when somebody wants to work on something, and when we do in my workshops, is look at how we can look at something without that emotional place. And my parents and people that that were upset about putting the mask on first for you on the airplane, are coming from an emotional place. Because if you look at it, they're coming from what you think of you before you think of me, and all these places that take you into a place of a lack, a place of a need, a place of like, oh, I'm not good enough, so you're putting all these kind of things that are unnecessary, unnecessary, totally.
Yeah. Now we've come to the part of the podcast where I ask 5 random questions. So, are you game?
5 random questions.
I ask 5 random questions. Okay. So, if you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
3 people who are alive. I will sit with my partner, I will sit with my mother, and I will sit with my sister.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is your morning routine?
My morning routine. So I will get up. I take some 15 minutes before I get out of bed. I don't jump out of bed. It's unhealthy, and it also causes your systems to go shakalaka, going crazy, because you are in a certain state for 8-7 hours, and suddenly, boom, you jump. You're causing a shock. So that's first. Then I get up. I do my meditation or exercise, depends which comes first, how I feel that morning, and my meditation, my prayer, and then I go down. I start. Maybe I will write something. Some mornings I will just write things like a stream of consciousness, and then I go into doing my work, whether it is sitting with you, for example, or doing working on other projects that I have, and because I do also video, I do photography, I use art also in music, and film. That I'm working on a film, and so I do all these as part of my day. Depends on which day. Then I have some workshops, and so every day is different.
Yeah, that sounds like that's nice. That, I mean, it's routine's important, I think. Especially like I have an autistic
Yeah,
daughter, and
routines are
routine is
important.
very important. But to have that, freedom
Yeah.
to work on what is calling for you to do that day.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
Yes, I come from a place where manifestation wasn't a concept for me. It wasn't a concept, at least it wasn't a reachable concept. I would dismiss it all the time. I would hear all these kinds of things, those crazy people. Those woo-woo people. But then I wasn't ripe enough to conceptualize that, and therefore it didn't enter my understanding. So I dismissed it. Like many times we may do that kind of thing. It's like, I don't want to listen to this. You can always go back to what you know. You can always go back to do what you know, but what would it hurt you to try something new? Maybe you'll learn something. So routine is important. Yes.
What is your favorite pump up song? What song gets you moving?
What is my favorite one?
Like pump up song, one like say if you were down.
A pump up song.
Yeah. What gets you?
Well, I listen to my favorite musician, of course, when I if I feel when I feel that kind of place, I go, I move, and I'll play different kind of music. It'll be fusion, it'll be Michel Camilo, it'll be Stevie Wonder, of course, Mati Kaspi. Different. Every time is different. There is no one particular song that will, By the way, talking about manifestation, I started working with my musical idol 2 years ago when the Corona started. So that for me is a circle closing.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, totally. I did 3 of his official music videos. Oh, thank you. 3 of his official music videos. He's a prolific. He composed over 1,000 songs, and so I did 3 of his latest song, his official music. And we started working together, and we're friends. So it's really really exhilarating.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's wonderful. If you could turn back time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Focus. Focus. Yeah. Focus.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini, and as such, I like to spread. I like this. I like that. I like this. I like that. Everything is exciting. Everything is wonderful. But focus. Also, if you do many things, you focus on what you want to do and how you want to integrate everything. Focus is really important.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell him. I mean, I would tell him many other things. And but that's the first thing that just came to me.
Yeah. What would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, finally. Finally, you got it. It's like we've been waiting for you. Come on. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a great answer. I like that. Well, thanks, Ilan.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking with me today.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been really a pleasure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good. For sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can I plug in my site?
Yes.
So my website is bodysoulsound.com. Body, soul, and sound. Body, soul, sound, one word.com. And my Facebook and Instagram is my first and last, ILan Azoulai. And on the website, you can find information about the sound work, about my tea, And on my YouTube channel, which is also Ilan Azoulai, you can see my other, my podcast work, my radio work, the interviews I've had with different people, the clips that I edited, the different projects that I'm on, different affirmations videos that I have there, and so forth. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. And to you, Lisa, I thank you very much for this opportunity to be on your podcast. So I really appreciate it, and thank you.
If you're hearing this message, you've listened to our new episode all the way through. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You can find Ilan's contact information on the Holistic Life Coach Podcast Facebook page. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with your friends, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at the Holistic Life Coach Podcast and at the Holistic Life Coach Podcast on Facebook. Thanks again. Until next time, beautiful souls.